All right, guys, this is part two, obviously. So this is why I never go on Twitter because the fans on Twitter are very very toxic. Hence why when I'm king, I don't have to worry about fans hating on me and annoying me on Twitter because it's all why behind the scenes. Thank God, obviously. But this is how toxic the fans are on Twitter. Because Peter Safran and James Gunn are fired Henry Cavill and because they want to go with the younger Superman and they're rebuilding their franchise. Now fans want to boycott Warner Bros. So you want the Warner Bros. Brand to fail because Henry Cavill was let go from the DC universe. I don't understand like your logic here. So you want the Warner Bros. Brand to fail, and you want to fire James Gunn just because they fired Henry Cavill. That's how crazy these fans are, man. These fans are so toxic. It's crazy. Henry Cavill, Superman, boycott Warner Bros. Hashtag boycott Warner Bros. Hashtag fire James Gunn. This is from 2 a.m. Void. Like, this is how crazy this world is, man. We live in a crazy fucking world, man. Hence why I don't go on Twitter, man. Because Twitter is all I do is like post a few things here and there. I don't interact with people because Twitter is a toxic place. It's a very toxic place. And this is what you have to deal with if you're a famous person, man. That's why when I'm king and I start scotches, I don't have to worry about these crazy fans on Twitter, man. And all that stuff. Thank God. Because Twitter is a toxic place, man. It's a toxic place, man. Yeah, man. The industry is rightfully questioning the direction James Gunn is taking DC Studios, another user said. I think James Gunn so far is doing an excellent job. He already what? Him and Peter Safran already chose to reboot the franchise because the DC franchise is not working too well. All their past movies have not been major hits. The only two hits in the DC universe, in the past, it's now called the DCU. In the DCEU, obviously, is Aquaman and Wonder Woman. All the other movies were not hits. They all did under $400 million. Like, the DC brand is obviously not working, and James Gunn decided to reboot the franchise, which I think was a logical choice, obviously. So I don't know what this fan means by saying the industry is rightfully questioning the direction James Gunn is taking DC Studios. So because he fired Henry Cavill, you think Peter Safran and James Gunn did not make the right choice? I think they made the right choice. Look, if they're gonna reboot the DC universe, they obviously made the right choice of firing Henry Cavill. But you can argue they could have kept Henry Cavill, but they wanted to go with the younger Superman. They had to let Henry Cavill go. There's an argument to be made on both sides, obviously. But so far, I think James Gunn and Peter Safran are doing a fine job, obviously. Warner Brothers is tanking. Fire James Gunn is trending continuously, and the majority of the DC fans are upset. So according to this article, most of the fans are very, very upset that they fired Henry Cavill. They fired Henry Cavill, obviously. Because all the fans love Henry Cavill, obviously. And now they want James Gunn fired. Oh my God, we live in a crazy world, man. So because you fired Henry Cavill, you now want James Gunn fired? Come on, guys. You guys are grow up. Stop being children. This is business, guys. This is welcome to fucking Hollywood. When you go to Hollywood, you're gonna get screwed over. That's how it works, man. I'm not saying Henry Cavill got screwed over, but it looks like when you read into it, it looks like he got screwed over a little bit. But at the end of the day, it's business, man. Hollywood is business. That's how it works. Samsara. That's how it works in Hollywood, Samsara. Now, me personally, I would never screw an actor over. Samsara. If I casted an actor for a role, I would never cast another actor and screw him over like that. Unless he's really, really bad in the role. I'm like, look, man, I'm sorry. I have to let you go. But I would never screw an actor over, obviously, because I'm a clean business person, obviously. So fire James Gunn is trending continuously, and the majority of the DC fan base is upset that Henry Cavill got fired, obviously. There is no business that succeeds long-term by potentially screwing over their customers. So these fans obviously think that Henry Cavill got screwed over by I can see their point because like I see what they're saying when they think he got screwed over because like David Zaslav was like Henry Cavill, I'm saying make the announcement that you're coming back and he hires Peter Safran and James Gunn, and they fire him. Obviously, Henry Cavill might have felt like he was done dirty a little bit. I don't see it that way, but I can see the fans' point in that sense, obviously. But like, because I don't think James Gunn deserves to get fired because he fired your what your hero. He fired your hero of an actor in Henry Cavill. Like we're not children, guys. We need to grow up, man. Sarah. I know you guys love this Hollywood news. You better enjoy it while you still can, man. Because once I'm hanging, I'm peace out my wife, man. Sarah. Imagine having one of the most beautiful superhero costumes, a gorgeous theme produced by legendary Hans Zimmer, a story of discovery, coming of age, and rise to the greatest superhero of all time, and the actor beloved by fans, and seeing it all discarded. Fire James Gunn, another said. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, though. What the fans don't understand is that James Gunn is rebooting the franchise. If James Gunn was not rebooting the franchise, then firing Henry Cavill would look very bad, obviously. But he's rebooting the franchise. He wants to go with younger Superman. As giving that analogy is a bad example. As Peter Safran is not fired Henry Cavill because him and Peter Safran want to reboot the franchise. They want to start fresh. The old DC brand was not working well, and Henry Cavill did not fit the bill for the new DC franchise. He wants to go with the younger Superman, hence why they let Henry Cavill go. So this analogy here is a bad example. And another guy puts a hashtag, they want to fire James Gunn, obviously. That's how toxic the fans are, man. Like these Hollywood fans, man. Hollywood fans are fucking crazy, man. They're crazy people, man. You fire one actor, you know what I'm saying? They want you fired. Boycott Warner Bros. So you want the Warner Bros. Brand to fail because they fired Henry Cavill? Come on, guys. Like, stop being children. This is just business, man. It's business, man. This is not show friends. It's show business, like Rob Burnett says, right? Now, I am personally pissed off that Henry Cavill is no longer the new Superman. I don't know if that new Superman will be able to fill his shoes, obviously. But at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? It's business. Peter Safran and James Gunn want to do what I want to what want to take the DC. They want to reboot the new DC universe if they reboot it, obviously. And if they're letting Henry Cavill go is the right choice, and they made their choice, obviously. There's nothing I can do about it, Sarah. And Henry Cavill will still have a successful career, anyways. Several other frustrated fans wanted to see the return of Zack Snyder, who directed 2016 Batman Superman. Yeah, I personally wanted Zack Snyder to come back to direct Man of Steel 2, as he did an amazing job with Man of Steel 1, the first one. And what? But unfortunately, Zack Snyder now left Warner Brothers. He's signed a deal with Netflix, and he's not coming back to Warner Brothers, obviously. Several other frustrated fans want to see the return of Zack Snyder, who directed 2016 Batman vs Superman, starring Cavill and Ben Affleck, among other part films. Yeah, I even saw a trend. Bring back the Snyderverse. I got that thing trending a little bit like last year. I remember that. Obviously, Gunn seemingly responded to the backlash by defending his decision making in a Twitter thread. One of the things Pete and I were aware of when we took the job as heads of DC Studios was a certain minority of people online that could be, well, appropriate and unkind to say the least. Yeah, that's the thing about what once you have a big job, like the heads of DC Studio, or you're a big you become an A-list actor, you're a big executive, a CEO. You're gonna have, and you're on Twitter, you're gonna have to deal with these annoying fans, obviously. Hence why, if I was in Hollywood, I wouldn't even have a Twitter account. Because I don't want to deal with these negative fans, man. The fans are fucking crazy. And like these Hollywood fans, man. These DC fans, Marvel fans, Star Wars fans, Lord of the Rings fans are all negative, crazy people, man. You fire one guy, now you want to boycott the brand. So you want the Warner Bros. Brand to fail, all because they fired Henry Cavill. You know what I'm saying? And you want to fire James Gunn. It's very, very brutal out there on Twitter, man. It's crazy, man. That's why you don't see me tweeting on Twitter, responding to stuff, because Twitter is a very negative place, obviously, yeah. Our choices for the DCU are based upon what we believe is best for the story. Yeah, James Gunn and Peter Safran want to reboot the franchise, I believe, right? And Henry Cavill does not fit the bill for the new DC franchise. And best for the DC characters who have been around for nearly 85 years. They're quoting James Gunn here. Perhaps these choices are great, perhaps not, but they are made with sincere hearts and integrity, and will always be always with the story in mind. No one loves to be harassed or called names. But to be frank, we've been through significantly worse. Disrespectful outcry will never ever affect our actions. Yeah, exactly. The fans can hashtag fire James Gunn. You know what I'm saying? Bring back Henry Cavill, boycott Warnerbles. But what James Gunn, and that's not going to affect James Gunn and Peter Safran's work. All you have to do is just ignore what, ignore the naysayers and just do your job. And hopefully the new DC brand is amazing. Is amazing, and it might perhaps even be better than Marvel. Who knows? James Gunn and Peter Safran have a potential in their hands to build a better brand than even Kevin Feige's Marvel. As I believe the DC brand has higher potential, has a higher ceiling than Marvel. Come on, you have Superman, you have Wonder Woman, and you have fucking Batman. As much as I love Guardians of the Galaxy, you know what I'm saying? As much as I like Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man is not as fucking cool. Iron Man is not as cool as fucking Superman. You know what I'm saying? Cap is not as cool as fucking Wonder Woman. You know, Spider Man is fucking cool, but Spider Man is not as cool as Batman. No, Spider Man's I find a bit cooler than Batman, but like you have Batman, Wonder Woman, you have all these Flash, you have all these characters. DC, I believe, has a higher ceiling than Marvel, to be honest. You just have to do it right. You just have to do it right, obviously. Some Sarah. As Man of Steel, in my opinion, easily is just as good as movies like Black Panther and Thor. It's in my opinion, Man of Steel is even what you can argue it's better than Black Panther. You can argue it's better than Thor. You can argue it's better than the Captain. It's a fucking masterpiece, that movie, man. It's a fucking amazing movie, yeah. Obviously, so James Gunn says here that he will not let the naysayers affect his work life, obviously, affect the decisions that he makes for the DC universe, obviously. So James, just ignore the naysayers, obviously, if ignore the haters, obviously. So I'm saying, yeah. The quote continues from James Gunn. We were aware there would be a period of turbulence when we took this gig, and we knew we would sometimes have to make difficult and not so obvious choices, especially in the wake of the fractious nature of what came before us. Yeah, the DC universe was fractious. It was not working. Hence why James Gunn and you're like, yeah, we can't fix this DC brand. It's not working. Dwayne Johnson, the biggest movie star in the world, pretty much. He couldn't even get his Black Adam movie to make profit. Obviously, it flopped. I know what. Dwayne Johnson said the movie made profit. I did the math. The movie did not make profit. It flopped. It did not even crack $400 million. It was made for $200 million. I heard. It did not make profit. It flopped, man. It was a flop, Black Adam. Obviously, Shazam did not make much money. Obviously, the Batman made a lot of money, but the Batman's not part of the DCU universe. The Joker made money, but the Joker's not part of the DC universe. And Aquaman and Wonder Woman did $800 million. So those were hits, obviously, but all the other movies that came out, they were not hits. So obviously, James Gunn, he said, you know what? We need to reboot this thing. This current DC franchise is not working. Yeah, it's not working. And that's why he says, especially in the wake of the fractious nature of what came before us. Yeah, but this means little to us in the comparison to our jobs as artists and custodians in helping to create a wide and wonderful future for DC. Yes, James Gunn and Peter Safran were hired to create a better future for the DC franchise, obviously. And hopefully their DC franchise ends up being just as good as Marvel, even better. Who knows? It might even be better than Kevin Feige's Marvel. You never know. I highly doubt it. But it doesn't. My point, it doesn't have to be as good as Marvel or successful as Marvel. Just make good movies, and hopefully your movies are hits. And then Peter Safran and then what? And James Gunn, what? They created a successful franchise, obviously. Social media users didn't like Gunn's use of words minority to describe the number of disgruntled fans. This is a quote from Lauren Chen. Are we making bad decisions about films we make? No, it's the millions of fans who are wrong. Okay. So again, because James Gunn fired Henry Cavill, obviously, so the fans obviously think they know more about the DC franchise than James Gunn, obviously. This is how crazy of a world we live in, man. I'm going to quote this girl again. Lauren Chen, she says, "Are we making bad decisions about the films we make? No, no, it's the millions of fans who are wrong." So she obviously thinks she knows more about the DC franchise than James Gunn. This is how crazy for what we live in, man. This place is crazy, man. Crazy fucking fans on Twitter, obviously. And then she posts the tweet that James Gunn tweeted. One of the things Peter and I were aware of when we took the job as heads of DC Studios was a certain amount of minority of people online that could be, well, appropriate and unkind to say the least. And she says, "Are we making bad decisions about the films we make? No, no, it's the millions of fans who are wrong." So this Lauren Chen obviously thinks she knows what's best for the DC brand more than James Gunn and Peter Safran, according to what she's saying. This is how crazy world we live in, man. Yeah, man. Almost done. Yeah. So for this video, I only do one topic. I'm already pushing like 48 minutes. But some defending Gunn's vision, like others, I am bummed about. So this is from podcast host Aaron Sagers. Like others, they're quoting him. Like others, I am bummed about Henry Cavill not returning. Podcast host Aaron Sagers said. Yet there's no evidence Gunn or Safran are operating with malice. There's no evidence of that. As according to the tweet, James Gunn said it was the discussion with Henry Cavill was very professional, obviously. Yet there's no evidence Gunn or Safran are operating with malice. Quite the opposite. Gunn has shown the goods with both MCU and DCU stories. He wants to make good DC movies, and I want to see them. He earned the runway. Yeah, I agree with this guy. I personally don't believe Henry Cavill was done dirty, but I can see where the fans are coming from. Like, yeah, he announces his return, and like a couple weeks later, a month later, whatever it is, he's fired. Obviously, they let him go. Obviously, some fans see that as them doing Henry Cavill dirty. But I think Peter Safran and James Gunn are just doing what's best. They're putting the franchise first before the actors. Whenever you're building a franchise, you got to put the franchise first before the actors. Doesn't matter how big this actor is. Doesn't matter how much fans love him. You know what I'm saying? If he does not fit the bill in your new universe, and sometimes you have to make tough decisions and let some of these actors go. It's life. It's business. I'm saying. Yeah. Here is another tweet from another fan here. His name is Scaren Sagers. So this is the Aaron Sagers guy, right? Like others, I'm bummed about Henry Cavill not returning. I already read this, right? Yet there's no evidence Gunn or Safran are operating with malice. Yeah, I agree. Quite the opposite. Gunn has shown the goods with both MCU and DC stories. He wants to make good DC movies and wants to see them. He's earned the runway. And he quotes James Gunn repeating that what I just repeated earlier. I'm not going to read it again. Obviously, radical idea. Let these gents actually produce a few minutes of film before jumping all over them. Yes, before you criticize and judge James Gunn. Obviously, let's see. Give them breathing room. Let them do their thing, and let's see what. Let's see how their movies do. Let's see how successful this franchise is before you jump all over them and demand their firing and all this stuff. If the Superman movie tanks, if this new Superman movie is not good, obviously, then James Gunn and Peter Safran have a tough job ahead of them, obviously. If this new Superman movie, I don't know, if their first movie they do is Superman, and that movie is a massive hit, it does $1 billion, $900 million on a $125 million budget, then James Gunn and Peter Safran were obviously very successful, you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm going to keep saying this. James Gunn and Peter Safran they're obviously under a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure from the fans and the studio execs are under a lot of pressure. They got to get this thing back to the glory days. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Gunn, who directed the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which I love obviously, was dismissed by the Disney and Marvel studios in 2018. I remember that, for a series of controversial tweets he published a decade earlier dealing with topics of rape, pedophilia, 9/11, and child abuse. The offensive attitudes and statements discovered on James' Twitter feed are indefensible and inconsistent with our studio values, and we have severed our business relationship with him, the Walt Disney Company explained. And now James Gunn is the head of DC Studios. So tough, Disney. Yeah. Several members of the Guardians cast, however, including heavy hitters Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Bradley Cooper, and Vin Diesel, defended the director. While he didn't support Gunn's old inappropriate jokes, Pratt commended Gunn's character on set and argued that he deserves to be reinstated. Yeah, and that's how you know everyone respects James Gunn. All the actors love him. So whenever Disney fired James Gunn back in 2018, all these actors were begging, please rehire him. We love James Gunn. He's a nice man. I'm saying they all loved him, obviously. but Disney fired James Gunn for tweets, obviously. And now James Gunn's the head of DC Studios. he has Kevin Feige's job pretty much, right? You know how Kevin Feige is the president of Marvel? James Gunn's the head of DC Studios. He has Kevin Feige's job pretty much. So tough, Disney, right? Yeah. Obviously. And then they quote a tweet that Chris Pratt wrote. They quote a statement that Chris Pratt wrote about James Gunn, which I'm not going to read. He's pretty much Chris Pratt is royal letter to Disney. Please bring James Gunn back. We want him back as a director, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? They're supporting him, obviously. Obviously, right? And that ends this article. So I talked for 53 minutes? Obviously. I could find another article, a shorter article here to read. I can do a 1 hour video here. But I don't think there's any other interesting topics to talk about. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video about James Gunn. How a lot of fans petitioned James Gunn to get fired. They want to boycott Warner Bros. Because they're upset with the fact that James Gunn fired Henry Cavill, let him go. And Henry Cavill's no longer Superman, obviously. Some fans obviously believe that they did Henry Cavill dirty. I mean, it does seem a little bit like they did him dirty because you know what I'm saying? David Zaslav says, yeah, Henry Cavill, we want you back as Superman. Make that announcement. And he hires Peter Safran and James Gunn. They decide to reboot the franchise, and they end up firing Henry Cavill. Some fans think that they did him dirty like that, obviously. I don't think they did. I think the whole thing was very professional, very respectful. As Henry Cavill said in his statement, and James Gunn tweeted, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think I'm just going to cover that one topic, guys. I talked for 50 minutes. That's good enough. Stay tuned tomorrow, guys. I will be covering another topic, obviously. I don't know what topic I'll cover, but I'll be covering another topic. I'll be covering another topic here, Samsara. I can cover another Avatar topic tomorrow, perhaps. Obviously, yeah, I'm not going to cover any more topics. I already talked for a good 55 minutes here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So what do you guys think? Do you think what? Do you think Henry Cavill was done dirty by Warner Bros? I don't know. I don't think so. Or do you think that Warner Bros was very professional? And I think they were very professional. They're very professional with Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill said in a statement he wishes him the best. You know what I'm saying? He said that He said that they're very professional, obviously. James Gunn and Peter Safran want to build their DC universe, and I'm not a part of that universe. He totally respects Henry Cavill is very professional, very respectful, obviously. But he did also mention it. If you notice, if you read his statement carefully, he does say that, Warner Bros. Wanted me to come back as Superman, and they fired me like a month later. He mentioned that, so he was very upset. I don't understand that. That's very weird. You hire me, you want me to come on board, and the next second you fire me. As Henry, how I don't know how Henry Cavill feels deep down inside. He might have felt like he was done dirty, obviously. I don't think he was. I think Peter Safran were very professional. But what do you guys think? Do you think Henry Cavill was done dirty? Do you think that Peter Safran and James Gunn made the right choice by firing Henry Cavill? Do you think Peter Safran and James Gunn made the right choice by rebooting the franchise? I think they made the right choice, obviously. Or do you think they should stick to the old to the old DC universe? I think that's a bad idea, as the old DC universe is obviously not working financially for the box office. Something's not working right with that franchise, and that's why they have to rebuild a new franchise, obviously. So what do you guys think? Obviously. Right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Ivan's Commenting Hollywood News Show. Stay tuned tomorrow. I'll make another interesting video. This is Ivan Amir. I'm signing out. Peace.